I'm Todd Bookspan, and welcome to your neighborhood real estate show. The hyperlocal real estate show where real estate professionals talk about the neighborhood you live in or the neighborhood you want to live in. This episode is brought to you by homebuyeruniversity.net, your free comprehensive guide to buying or refinancing your home. Click over to homebuyeruniversity.net to get started online today. Hey everyone, I'm Todd Bookspan, and you're watching or listening to Your Neighborhood Real Estate Show, and I'm super excited for you to meet my friends Pam Dial and Jim Nawrocki today. They were with RE/MAX Alliance here in Arizona. How are you guys doing?
Good. Very good, thanks.
Thank you. How are you?
You know what? I'm pretty darn good. Anytime I can hang out with you guys and have a conversation is a good time. And now we're just going to share with a couple of friends.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So I think it's always interesting, right? Everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, no one. Some people don't just fall into real estate. So, what was your journey? What did you do before real estate, Pam?
I came in from California, from Long Beach, and my background was virtually whatever job I could find.
Oh, there you go. Any ones that were so good that we should talk about, would make you feel uncomfortable?
No, just whatever, mostly office work. And
all right.
Then, I moved here and was office manager for a company that went under. And then I was like, what am I going to do? And so real estate
and
was
here
right
you are,
there.
Changing people's lives by helping them find the perfect home.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Well, and it's funny that you say that because I didn't know that you're office manager, but I can just see how you deal with people and manage transactions, that you have that experience.
I do.
All right, Jim, what about you?
I've been licensed almost 40 years, but my oldest brother got me into real estate a long time ago.
So you must have started as a youngster.
Yes.
All right.
A lot of retail experience in between, so dealing with customers and clients is always trying to help people solve problems.
I always talk about it on here. I started in retail, and people don't want to hear my retail journeys, but I'm sure yours was better. I mean, I sold bicycles, and I was a bartender in college. Was there anything cool that you sold?
Appliances and electronics, so TVs and entertainment.
All right. So what's your favorite appliance?
Probably refrigerator.
Refrigerator, right?
Oh,
that's
Of course, food.
And I was going to say TV because
that's true.
He's always looking for next good deal on
Next
a TV.
I haven't thought about it. I'm glad no one's asking me what my favorite appliance is, but I'll think about that for the next time I have you on.
Yeah.
We're going to turn the table.
It's an odd
sure,
thought. What is your favorite appliance?
Well, you know what? I always think of really interesting questions that might intrigue the listener. Because I'm thinking there's someone who's listening who says, you know what, I agree, my favorite is the TV. I'm going to call Pam versus calling Jim because he's a refrigerator guy.
Actually, it's the food part that stores it's stored in there.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. But I think it's, for me, retail was, gave me the opportunity to learn the customer experience side of it, right? And I think that, dealing with, it's one thing if you're buying an appliance and it's, that's a purchase that people think this is a long-term thing and it's going to cost me a lot of money. And then now you shift gears and say, well, now I'm buying a home, which is something that's, totally transformational to families when they're, buying or selling a home and moving that part. And so I think right now is such a dynamic time. And I say that all the time, wherever the market is pretty dynamic, but I do think that it's different. I've been in Nova for 20 years, so not as long as you have been, but it is so different right now, and I feel like maybe it's because of social media and maybe it's because of the media just trying to always put out bad news to sell advertising, and so I hear a lot of nervous buyers and sellers right now. So when someone's calling you and saying, hey, I want to list a home, what are the concerns that they have and how are you guys addressing those concerns?
Yeah, their major goal is to try to get the most money they can. So,
and that's a good goal, right?
Right, exactly. And then how we market a home is critical, how we can maximize the dollars in their pocket.
Yeah.
So that's very important.
And so everyone wants to maximize their home. And so do you find that that it's a challenge sometimes because they're unrealistic about the price?
They can be, yeah. Education is probably our biggest part, and one of the things we get a lot of kick out of is just helping people get educated in the current market conditions, because they do change drastically.
Yeah, they change literally daily, right?
Daily. That's what we were just talking about this morning, how quickly the market's changing every single day.
Yeah, and I think that to me that's the most important part, and I just find that I'm just always blown away when I talk to just friends or someone that I run across, and they're just so off on their perception of the market. They have a perception that they've heard somewhere, and again, they might have heard it at the water cooler at work, they might have read an article online, or
mom and dad.
Yeah. don't go down that route.
I'm telling you, that's where, because we do a lot of first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
And they get a lot of their information from mom and dad.
Which is great. I think it's a great place to start. But if mom and dad bought a house 30 years ago and haven't bought one since, they may or may not be the best person to get that advice from.
They're not the best advisor.
Right. And so when you've got someone who, so I love the idea of education, and I know that about the two of you, that you do a really great job of helping people kind of understand the process and what they're doing. And how much of a challenge then is it when someone's trying to, what data do you have to provide to them to help them understand what the value of their home is when they're listing home?
Pulling all the comps, and like in our neighborhood, we actually view every home that comes on the market. So we have a good idea if it's upgraded or how upgraded.
So you're not just looking at a picture of it online, you're physically walking in the house and checking it all out.
Yes,
absolutely. Every single house that we can get into, we go view.
That's huge.
And
that's huge. That's a big time commitment.
We make notes. Jim makes his notes, and we rate them and keep them in a book. And
what great knowledge when someone's buying a house and it's next door to a house that you looked at 3 years ago, and now you can say, gosh, I was actually in that house, and here's what you need to know about it.
Exactly. I think it's critical. Knowing what's going on in the market and knowing your competition is important when you're buying or selling.
Absolutely. And then you also mentioned kind of marketing a home. I mean, what does that look like now? I think some people think, I can just advertise it and then they put it online and then it's going to sell. But is there more to it than that, or what does that look like for
absolutely.
you guys?
There's a lot behind the scenes that most people don't realize. But Facebook, Instagram, social media is such a huge part. And we're learning that and growing that drastically all the time. So very critical.
And are you, correct me if I'm wrong, but you also make a website for each person's property that you're using to help them you're using that for marketing. It's also something that they can share as well.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What a great opportunity.
Thank you to you.
I was trying to pretend. But I think that is that's great service, because I feel like people, they just don't, you just said it, they just don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And I feel like that's where, connecting up with, with an expert, I think is always helpful. And then, you, Pam, mentioned first-time home buyers, and, it's interesting. I always joke with first-time home buyers that they get taken advantage of the most, primarily because people more in the loan side don't slow down enough to help them understand the process and what they're getting into. And again, they normally have a parent who may walk them through it, or maybe it's their friend that they work with who just bought a home and has that experience. And so how important is it for you? I joked with you beforehand, I was going to ask you what are the 3 things that we talk to buyers about, and you're like, well, there's hundreds of things I have to talk to a buyer about.
Right, absolutely. In education, in the whole process of what to do when you buy a house, from getting your loan and why that's important to start the loan process early, to the inspections, to the appraisals, to everything that gets involved. And I want to make it exciting for them, and I want them to be involved as much as they can, because this is a large purchase for them.
I love that you want to make it exciting for them, because I do think that's something that we don't do enough. We don't really celebrate what we do, and I know you all take it so seriously that you're helping someone with a home. It's not just a transaction, right?
Sure.
And I know I've been to your client party before. There was hundreds. Like, how many people were at the last one I was at?
Probably.
I was out of town for the last one, but 2 years ago I was there.
Yeah, 2 years. There was probably over 200 people.
Yeah, all having fun, connecting. That you guys brought together really is, I call it community, right? It's people that liked you enough, that you changed their life enough, that they actually show up to spend more time with you. They're not like, those people.
No, we try and make it a great experience, and we want to build that relationship, and that's why what we do is not just to have a traditional transaction. This is a lifelong decision. We want to be, somebody that they rely on as a resource or whatever that is needed in their lives at the time that we can provide for them.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? Because the resource piece, the connection piece, because I do, oftentimes come across real estate agents who it's just a number, right? You're just a number, this is a transaction, and their goal is how big and how crazy can I grow versus how can I actually impact people and actually smile at the end of the transaction and have them be happy with the fact that they spent all this time with me.
Right.
Exactly.
Because it is a lot of time they spend together.
We do spend a lot of time together, and the phone calls, and then it's the waiting game, in between, why things are, in between in the process. It's like, well, I haven't talked to you in 3 days. Where have you been? It's like, I know. This is part of what I told you in the beginning. There's going to be a 7 to 10 days where nothing's going to happen. and that's your break from me.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's good that they miss you.
I know.
And one of the things that I love, we talked about community, is that you guys, I mean, Santan Ranch is your place, right? You guys service the valley, but that's really one of the places that you guys know and love.
Focus well on.
Yeah,
Yes.
we live there. We love it. Our community loves being there. It's just all about the family and the community.
All right, so some people probably have no idea where is Santan Ranch.
Higley and Pecos Road in
Okay.
Gilbert, 85297. But there's like 1,800 homes, 1,802 to be exact, and good
Don't forget
variety.
those two, because if it's,
Yeah,
that's
I
my
know.
house, I'm gonna be mad at
Yes, well, that and a rental.
you. So, in the biggest misnomer is that it's not Santan Valley,
Valley.
which is a different city that's out further
That is
east.
Correct.
Right, it's Santan Ranch, because I think when you guys said Santan Ranch, I'm thinking, oh yeah, back out by Green Creek, and even further out, but it's actually in town.
But there is a Santan Ranches in Santan Valley or Queen Creek. So,
All right.
Yeah, so there is the
That's
ES
good.
in there.
That's really
Yes.
that is better for me to know, because I'm like, I don't want to mess that one up.
Yeah.
And so 1,800 houses, that's a pretty big. 1,802 houses, that's a pretty
Yes.
big community.
Exactly.
9 builders.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And when did they build them? About what time?
1999 to about 2003.
Wow. Okay.
So 20 years old, roughly speaking.
Yeah, and it's so let's just kind of talk about it. I mean, what are the amenities there? What are the reasons? I mean, you guys live there, so you obviously chose it for a reason.
Right.
The amenities, we have 5 parks with playgrounds, lots of green belts, just to go hang out and play soccer or whatever the kids want to do. They just find stuff to do out in the green belt.
I mean, kids actually can play in your neighborhood?
They do, yes, when it's not 100 degrees, yes, they do.
Well, don't talk about that.
Then we just have added pickleball.
Oh, awesome.
Volleyball's been around there for a while. Pickleball, bocce ball, and frisbee golf. We just added those 3 just this last spring.
9 holes of frisbee golf.
That's super cool. That's
Yes.
super cool. I
Lot of
played it
fun.
once, believe it or not, and I was terrible. But that's all right. It was fun. But it's a connecting thing, right?
Yes,
It's something
it is.
exactly.
It's something that's fun to do, and that's what I love, because it seems like you two do such a good job of bringing the community in, right? I know that you do something with Halloween. Walk me through Halloween, Christmas. I mean, you guys make it kind of a community fun time.
Yeah, we do a couple contests, Halloween decorating and Christmas light decorations.
See, I think that's so cool, because I've only ever lived in neighborhoods where people don't trick or treat there. They drive somewhere else to trick or treat, and I always feel like that jerk because I'm having to shut off my lights and go somewhere else. But for you guys, it's part of the community.
Right, and besides the Halloween contest and Christmas light contest, there's what we call Halloween Street, where almost everyone on the street, they pass out candy and they block it off and have just a big event for trick-or-treating.
Well, that's super cool, except for the person you said almost everyone. So there's like some person who that's just not their thing.
One time there was one person that
All
did,
right.
so
Okay.
but they're pretty good about
All right.
it. So, but yes, they'll have anywhere from 800 to 900 trick-or-treaters at everyone's door up and down that street.
That's awesome.
Every year.
And you guys have a Facebook. Where can on Facebook? I know people can see it. So where would they see that on Facebook?
Santan Ranch
Residents.
residents.
Santan.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna write
On
that down so I
Facebook.
can check it out.
Yes.
And so I think that's a great thing, and I know you're involved with the HOA, and everyone they hear the word HOA and a lot of people cringe, but you guys actually laugh and smile about it.
Right, absolutely, yes. Our HOA does a very good job by adding some of the amenities and just do good landscaping and the way it should be ran. And we're one of the least expensive HOAs in the community in Gilbert. We're $45 a month.
Yeah, that's a bargain.
Yes.
I didn't know there's such a thing. And you two are both involved in some way with the HOA, or is it just you show up at the meetings?
Yeah,
or?
we're there at every meeting, and we wouldn't want that pleasure of being on the board, but
But we
That's a
are-
different
we're
level of
very-
commitment.
involved.
Yes, we're very involved as they are with us as well. So we have a really good partnership with our HOA. We co-sponsor the several events. The Winter Wonderland is put on by the HOA, but they come to us so we can help market that for our residents and our neighbors, for them to all come together. We get booths so people can share or sell their craft items. Or
I was gonna say, what is a Winter Wonderland? So it's it's where
They bring
people
in,
sell
like,
stuff.
I don't know, 2,000, 4,000 tons of snow.
I forgot the numbers, but
Yeah.
they bring in
A lot of snow. Let's just use the word a lot.
A lot.
Bounce houses, Santa Claus, everything everything, the community,
That is
all
really
the
cool.
Santan
Free
ranches and
lunch.
yeah.
They supply lunch for us.
Hot dogs, hamburgers.
Right.
And so there's all ages, all demographics that live in there, I'm guessing, based on that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
you mentioned kids and even playing in the 100-degree heat.
And one of the other great things about our community is Santan Elementary School is right there in the community.
Oh, how great.
So the kids can walk to school. They focus on, it's actually a Leader in Me school, which focuses on being a leader in the community and a Spanish immersion
Oh, that's awesome.
program.
I was going to say, I never heard a Leader in Me. See, this is why I do this so I can learn.
Yes.
So next time someone says, my kids go to this elementary school, I'm saying, hey, is that a Leader in Me school?
Yeah,
There
it's
you go.
it's a very important part of.
No, I think it's
the
great,
school, yeah.
right? And I do think, I love the idea. I really wish my kids would have gone to a Spanish or some foreign language. I think Spanish would be the most applicable that,
Agreed.
They all took French and now they're like, that wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, right.
From that perspective.
Yeah.
And so HOA, then you guys also do a lot of meet and greets. Like, is that, that's
Right.
just something that
Yes.
I just see you guys talk about them and advertise them all the time.
Yes, we do a monthly meet and greet. Somebody in the neighborhood hosts outside and on their driveway, and the whole community is invited. Everybody brings a dish to share, whatever they want, and just bringing the community together. Meet your neighbors. We live together. We're not in the same house, but we live together day after day. Find out who your neighbors are.
I just love that idea. I mean, truly, because one time I lived in an HOA with 4 people, and guess what? I did know all my neighbors.
Okay.
Although every time we met, it was really expensive because we had to do some capital improvement project. But other than that, I've really never lived. It's sad to say, really, since I was a kid, lived anywhere where people actually all got out and hung out together. And so when I hear it, I'm just like a FOMO kind of thing.
Yeah, great friendships have been made because of these,
Yeah.
these events, and that's kind of our mission, is bringing our community together and getting to know who you're living with.
And so I know, you've kind of already given me all the reasons why I would want to live there, but like, what are your clients telling you why they chose Santan Ranch?
Somebody said they're proud to live in Santan Ranch. A proud Santan rancher is what
I like
they
that.
said.
Just not ranch-s. We don't use the yes, but
No,
rancher,
but
right?
Yes, a proud Santan rancher. Just a sense of community and family.
Well, so I think that's really cool. As I'm listening, I'm thinking other people are probably saying the same thing. Maybe I haven't really thought about my community that way. So I just have to imagine that people listening are going to be kind of attracted to this whole idea of living in a community. Because oftentimes I talk to people like, I don't want to live in an HOA, and here's why. But I hear the opposite when I'm talking to the two of you. Like, it would just be an inviting place to live. And I guess there's some people that don't want to know their neighbors, but
Of course.
in the end, I think that you got a place where people are excited to be there together.
Yeah.
Encouraged
Yeah.
to help.
We try to do something once a month, a bigger event once a quarter, and something really, really big once a year. So the garage sales, we work with the HOA. We do that spring and a fall. Every month our neighbors get a newsletter from us on their door.
Well, that's nice.
And that gives them all the information that they need to know about what's going on in the community that month, market data, and what's going on. And the other thing, we showcase businesses. So if you have a small business in our neighborhood, we put that in our newsletter.
That's super cool. What type of businesses are people running from there?
We have an AC company. We have Pampered Chef. We have Med Spa. That people own these businesses.
Well, I think it's super helpful because what a great service to let their neighbors know what they're doing so that they don't have to spend their money on it themselves.
Sure, exactly.
And I think the market data. So I did live in one house that the market expert, who didn't do these cool things that you guys do, would send it out. But I never read his newsletter, but I always flipped it to the back to look at what sold and what that market data was. So I think that's also a lot of fun because I think people go online, they think they're getting accurate data, and it's not always that way.
Exactly.
And our market data is on the back, just as you said, because that's what they're going to look at the front, they're going to look at the back. Maybe they'll look on the inside. So the important stuff is absolutely on the back.
Right. Well, but I think they're going to look at, if I was there, I would look at the inside because I'd be meeting my neighbors, it sounds like, and learning what they do, which, again, to me, that's fun. I do enjoy that part of life.
Exactly. Interaction with other people is important.
Yes.
Critical, especially in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I hope I don't become a hermit someday and say something different, but I do believe that that's, again, I keep coming back to that word community, right? I said, hey, let's talk about what community you guys are passionate about. And the fact that you live there, I think, and are such a big pillar of the community is something that I've got a lot of respect for, because oftentimes I'll talk to someone and they say, I focus on this neighborhood And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Oh, do you live there? No. Well, why'd you pick that one? Oh, because it's, it's expensive, or people move out of there a lot, or they've got some other reason that they're looking at it. And for you, it's just that you're passionate, you live in the area, and you just really love it.
And that's all we market. We do not have another farm area that we, entertain. Granted, we work the whole valley,
Well, that's fine. I was going to go there.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, people all over. You have people who probably have moved out of there and live
I know,
live somewhere
and it breaks
else.
their hearts too.
Yeah, but some people have to downsize at some point or need to move for some other reason. And so you guys do work other areas. So I certainly wouldn't want someone to be discouraged from reaching out to you just because they're not going to pick and live in Santan Ranch.
I was in Peoria yesterday with signing paperwork for a new listing.
Yeah, there you go. And have you ever sold a house in Santan Ranch, Ez?
No, we have not done
okay,
it
all
back
right, all right, so if you're listening and you live there, I think you should become friends with Jim and Pam, because I think that they would do a great job representing in your place as well.
Yeah.
Because you already have all the marketing done. You just have to, add a little,
change
just a couple of letters. That's it. Just add that. That is terrible. See, this is why I'm not the best radio. I guess I'm on radio, not the best podcast host, because then I get off on a tangent. Yes, that's all right, but I think it's really critical. And so you guys do also have a website. You have a couple of them, but really dial Pam for the number 4, not
Homes.
FOR. Dial the number 4 for Pam for dial PamForHomes.com is a great way to go on there, search properties. You guys work for RE/MAX, and so I have a personal connection to RE/MAX just because my father-in-law brought RE/MAX to Arizona years ago, and I think that when I hear RE/MAX, I think about level of professionalism, but kind of, do you mind just spend a minute talking about what's different for you guys and why you chose to be there?
Yeah, well, recently we merged with California RE/MAX, and we have now 2,800 agents.
Wow.
And we have a lot of people from California, Oregon, Las Vegas moving to Arizona. So, yeah, the interaction of that addition has been very favorable.
Yeah, in my sort of experiences, it's just a higher level of experience. I've used the word twice, but really the agents who work there like you are just seasoned agents who do a great job, and it's
absolutely,
and those of you who are listening are like, who's RE/MAX? It's the people with the balloon,
right? And it's a
right?
well-known brand.
Yeah,
I mean, and we are worldwide, and we get referrals worldwide.
And I think that's a great thing to bring up, right? So if you're listening and you're like, oh, I really like Jim and Pam, but I'm moving to Pennsylvania, they can reach out to you and you can connect them with a great agent in Pennsylvania. And I think that's often, I get a lot of questions that way from people, on social media saying, oh, I'm from wherever. Hey, do you know someone who does business here? And I feel like, you two are so well positioned to help it because you know the other people, you vetted the other people. You're going to find people that are just like you to help them do that, to find whatever the Santan Ranch in Kentucky or wherever that is.
Yeah, and we do vet them because it's important for us to make sure that they are going to somebody professional, somebody of like personality, that we've gotten to know them, that we know what they're kind of looking for. We did have somebody move to another state, and they found their own realtor, and because they couldn't be there because they lived here, everything was done virtually, and they were like, no, would you please find us a RE/MAX agent, because we know that's who is going to give us the best service. And we did, and they were so happy that, disappointed that they wasted the time with somebody else, but that we were happy that we could refer them to somebody else.
I think it's just such a great story, and I think it's, I know that you also work with people who are moving here, so how does that experience look for someone who, say, lives in California, is relocating here, and they don't have time to come look at houses? How do you prep someone from afar to?
Yeah, I mean, with technology nowadays, it's very easy to do, FaceTime or electronic or whatever, to help walk through a home. And then contracts and everything else is all electronic. But yeah, we want to educate them as we're over the phone or if we're talking face to face. Yeah. And then the video cameras are salvation.
Well, and the fact that you guys have done all the preview and you've seen all these homes, it just makes it even that much easier to know. Yes. Once you know specifically what they're looking for, and you show them something on FaceTime, they're like, oh, I don't like that backyard, and here's what I really want. Then you guys probably have the ability to steer them in the right direction.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, so as we kind of go into wrap-up mode, I always want to make sure that I feel like I've covered most of what we talked about covering. But is there something I forgot that we should be talking about before I?
Not really. I mean, we're really our goal is to, have people enjoy their home, enjoy the process of buying a home or selling a home, because it's very stressful. One of the biggest stresses in their lives. So let's make this as easy as possible and profitable as possible for them.
I love that. So that's the perfect way to end it, right? I think that if you've, if you're at this point listening, my friends Jim and Pam, and why I wanted to have them on the show, and I would encourage anyone to reach out, and I know you guys would love the opportunity to help them, and just want to say thanks. I'm glad I know about Santan Ranch.
Thank you. Thank
Great
you for having
time.
us.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
All right.
Bye now.
This episode is brought to you by HomebuyerUniversity.net, your free comprehensive guide to buying or refinancing your home. Click over to HomebuyerUniversity.net to get started online today.